The top story: Indian ambassador to Ethiopia highlights progress in regional integration among Global South nations across multifaceted areas. Hello and welcome to EBC World with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia has expressed profound sorrow over the catastrophic wildfires sweeping through Los Angeles, California. The fires have caused tragic loss of life, forced the evacuation of thousands, and inflicted widespread destruction on property and natural ecosystem. Emphasizing the shared humanity that unites nations in times of adversity, the ministry extended its solidarity to the people and government of the United States, as well as to Ethiopian citizens and individuals of Ethiopian origin residing in the affected areas, offering its heartfelt support during this difficult and challenging period. The United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, acknowledges the Russian Federation's contribution of 1,630 metric tons of wheat to aid refugee operations in Ethiopia's Gambela region. The support is timely as WFP faces significant challenges due to declining food assistance resources. An official handover ceremony of wheat from the Russian Federation took place on January 9, 2025 at WFP's main logistics hub in Adama. After the handover ceremony, the Russian delegation toured WFP's main warehouse. The WFP's press release indicates the donation from the Russian Federation will enable WFP to provide food assistance to 163,240 refugees in Ethiopia's Gambela region. This assistance is particularly crucial given that due to severe funding shortfalls, which have led to most WFP-supported refugees receiving only 60% of the daily minimum nutritional requirements. According to WFP Ethiopia Deputy Country Director Jennifer Bitonde, the significant contribution from the Russian Federation will support individuals seeking refuge in Ethiopia. Russian Ambassador to Ethiopia Evgeny Terekin praised current Ethiopia's agricultural program, adding that close cooperation between donor countries and the UN agencies is of paramount meaning in saving lives all over the world. The relationship between Ethiopia and India dates back over 2,000 years, encompassing a rich history of cooperation in areas such as trade, investment, and education. Approached by EBC World, Indian ambassador to Ethiopia and permanent representative to the AU, Anil Kumar Rai, noted the two countries share a long-standing relationship marked by extensive and diverse bilateral cooperation. With regards to regional integration amongst the countries of the Global South, the ambassador reiterated that the collaboration is advancing in multifaceted areas. Tigusar Nisa reports.
Ethiopia and India have had diplomatic relations since 1948. Ethiopia was the first African country to recognize India and established an embassy in New Delhi. Approached by ABC World, Indian ambassador to Ethiopia and permanent representative to the African Union Anil Kumar Rai indicated that the two nations enjoy long-standing wide range of bilateral cooperations.
So India and Ethiopia are having exceptionally good relationship, and we have a very wide-ranging cooperation, starting from you can say investments, political consultation at the highest level on major issues of international interest, bilateral and multilateral issues. So far as the cooperation is concerned, education is one of the oldest sector of cooperation between India and Ethiopia.
With regard to regional integrations amongst the countries of the Global South, the ambassador reiterated that cooperation is steadily deepening, fostering development and partnerships across a wide range of areas.
The Global South per se is now becoming the mainstay of the international politics, and they have learnt how to protect their interest and also put forward their agenda so as to shape the international direction of the international growth and development. Today the countries of the Global South are advancing. They are learning from each other. If I have to speak specifically between India and Ethiopia, so the new innovations in public digital infrastructure, pharma and health sector, education and technology, made with the space science, or industrialization is taking place. So more and more global south countries are integrating themselves in the global value chain, and now these global value chains are moving away from the developed nations to the developing nations. For if I just give you a small example, that today Ethiopia produces one of the biggest coffee, but generally this coffee goes to the western countries and then it is refined and sold. But slowly you will find that these kind of raw materials of Africa will go to another developing country, or it will be the part of the ecosystem of the developing country till it is processed and it is also largely consumed. So I mean the approach of the global south, including India, is to make sure that we have control over the resources, and we also have a say in the technology and the marketing, as well as all the trade and non-trade barrier issues, so that the countries of the global south can able to effectively protect their interest and put forward their agenda in a far more systematic and efficient manner.
Reflecting on representation of Africa in the world, he stressed that India advocates for the reformation of UN Security Council.
So you may be knowing that under the leadership of India, under the chairmanship of G20, India's chairmanship of G20, by the concerted effort of Prime Minister Mr. Modi, we could manage to give a permanent seat to G20 in the permanent seat to African Union in the G20. Now the various agendas which has been put forward for reforms of the UN Security Council, India is one of those countries which has always advocated that the Security Council of the United Nations is outdated. It represents the colonial era of geopolitics. The new reforms process should take place as early as possible, and it should be reflective of the aspirations of the developing countries. So far as our approach goes, we want a Security Council which gives rights to the right place to the countries from the developing world, and of course Africa has a very important place and important role to play. We don't see as a country that any UN security reforms without giving adequate representation for in both the permanent and the non-permanent category to the African Union is going to be a go forward. So we are fully committed for the reforms of the UN Security Council. We are fully committed that in those reform process, Africa should have its rightful place.
Indian companies rank among the top 3 foreign investors in Ethiopia, with significant investments across sectors such as agriculture, engineering, plastics, manufacturing, cotton, textile, water management, pharmaceuticals, and healthcare.
An American political analyst highlights the entry into force of a new Nile River agreement marks a significant turning point for the region, placing its future management firmly under African leadership. According to him, the CFA establishes a framework of an African-led cooperation and development within the Nile Basin, coordinated by the African Union. Gosho Melisau has more from the Ethiopian News Agency.
The Cooperative Framework Agreement CFA officially entered into force on October 13, 2024, following its ratification by Burundi, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and South Sudan. This marks a significant step toward fostering equitable and sustainable management of the Nile River Basin's water resources among the signatory countries. Talking to Ethiopian News Agency, political and economic analyst Lawrence Freeman called the cooperative framework a turning point, placing the region's future management under African leadership. He added that the CFA establishes a framework of an African-led cooperation and development within the Nile Basin, coordinated by the African Union.
Well, the Cooperative Framework Agreement now, which was voted up, I'm thinking by 6 of the nations of the Nile Basin, this now puts the whole issue of the Nile and the conflict that exists with Egypt. This takes this issue now and places it directly in the hands of Africans. It's no longer an issue to be brought up to the UN.
The analyst underscored the importance of GED for Ethiopia's development and its contribution to regional economic integration through connecting the region with the export of electricity. Meanwhile, for expansion of its economy and regional economic integration, Ethiopia not only needs access to seaport but also ownership of a port based on cooperation, the analyst said.
The issue that the Prime Minister of Ethiopia has brought up, which is a perfectly legitimate issue, is for Ethiopia to expand its economy, it needs to have not only access to a port, but essentially ownership of a port on a transactional basis.
The opposition and allegations Ethiopia faced during the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam Gerd is unfounded, noting that the dam is now nearing completion, the analyst added.
You're watching ABC The Top Story. Indian ambassador to Ethiopia highlights progress in regional integration among global south nations across multifaceted areas. That's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha John. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.